Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with another Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. There's been a lot of discussion about time in Dark Shadows. I was having a discussion with my friend John Philip Betancourt about time. There's been discussions about time in Collinwood on Twitter, or sorry, X. X now, it's X. I don't give a shit. I don't care what it is. But um, So, how does time itself work in the fictional world that is DS? Very simply, at first, time does go normally for the most part. Now, you'll hear the characters say they 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 seem to lose track of time. I think that's more of a human element with Dark Shadows. That the people in Dark Shadow, when we look at Elizabeth, when we look at Victorian Winters, when we look at Roger, David, you know, Mrs. Johnson later on. We're dealing with mortal flesh human beings. We're not dealing with the supernatural. Time itself keeps going no matter what. And often enough times with people, normal folks, what do we lose track of most? It's time. We 1 minute, we're standing around talking to somebody. You're thinking you're only going to be there for 10 minutes. Not that you just want to be there for 10 minutes, but you're not going to be home, stopping and just saying hey to somebody, right? 10 minutes turned into almost an hour. This is what I mean by loss of time. You lost, to be clear, I'm not saying this to be rude. You lost all that time because you weren't really expecting to be there a whole hour. So you talk to somebody, you expect, okay, I'll be quick, 10 minutes, say hi, hey, how are you, casual stuff. But then it turns into a whole other set of conversations about this going on in their life, this going on in your life, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My wife is a great example of this. When she sees somebody at Walmart, she knows she'll absolutely stop dead in her tracks and talk to them. And it won't be for no 10 minutes. Sometimes it will be every now and again, but most of the time it's like 20 minutes going by, 30 minutes went by. Me, I just go through the store, get my shit, and get the fuck out. Um, when somebody says hi, I'll say hi, but I don't stop and make a full blown conversation to them. That's just not who I am. Um, so my wife is. Now, I'll say hi to complete strangers though too. They go hi. Okay. But with the Dark Shadows video, time at first works normally. So what starts to affect time? Well, there are two names specifically who affect it. One is Barnabas. You traveled forward in time by laying in a coffin over 100 years, right? Well over 100 years ago, 1795 to 1966. Okay, give me a second. It's like 171 years. It's not quite 200, right? So 171 years ago, Barnabas was chained in a coffin. In 1795, he was chained. That's what we're told. He's going to affect time travel because he'll be released in the present day by a man named Willie Loomis. Now, who's the other person? Victoria Winters. These two are going to affect time in a very peculiar way. I'll do Victoria Winters first, ladies first. So they hold a seance to contact the ghost of Sarah Collins. They do so. Lights go out. Victoria is pulled back in time. Phyllis Wick is shot forward in time and replaces Victoria. Time freezes itself. This answers our question if we've ever had it. Is time aware of who belongs where. Yes, yes. Phyllis Wick was never meant to see the future. Phyllis Wick, it's sort of in a weird about way with time, we're getting into fate as well. It is as cruel as this sounds, and I don't mean to sound cruel, but with Dark Shadows, there's a lot of death. The show, with a gothic soap opera, you're going to have a lot of death. Okay? Phyllis Wick is meant to hang. She's meant to be tried as a witch and hanged. She's meant to die. It's fate. It's what John Carpenter talked about in Halloween. It's fate. It never changes. Phyllis Wick's fate never changes at all. Never. Now, Victoria Winters went back in time one time, well, twice. We'll get into the second one. Once the future froze. Not because Victoria went back, but because Phyllis Wick was in the future. Phyllis Wick is not allowed to affect 1966 because Phyllis Wick is meant to die. I think I've made this clear. Now, with Victoria being back in the past, is she Phyllis Wick? Answer, no, she's not. She's Victoria Winters, but she gets mistaken for Phyllis Wick. But, as we learn from Barnabas's mother Naomi, that is not Phyllis Wick. It's Victoria Winters. She tells them the truth about her name. She's a okay. They make her the governess. They see Sarah likes her, so let's make her the governess. Okay, she seems to know what she's doing fine. They're not asking her a shitload of questions. Is she living Phyllis Wick's life? To some degree. Here's where the similarities are. They're both governesses. That's where the similarity begins and where the similarity ends. Victoria Winters' journey in 1795, her life in 1795 is not Phyllis Wick's. Want proof of that? She survived the hanging. She was pulled back by time itself to her time. Victoria Winters is not meant to die in 1795. Phyllis Wick is. But here's where things change. 1795 is going to repeat itself over and over again. Does Victoria Winters actually change anything? No. And you heard me right about that. People are going to say, oh, she rescues Daniel. Daniel was going to be rescued by somebody. And most likely he was going to be rescued by Barnabas. I think this is now, the reason I say that is because I think that's why Daniel thinks fondly of Barnabas too. Daniel remembers Barnabas saving him. I think that's what initially happens with not it doesn't that's not what happens to Nathan Forbes, but that's what happens to Noah Gifford. Barnabas killed. I don't think Barnabas. I think Barnabas kills Noah Gifford because keep in mind there is no there's it's not that there's no Peter Bradford, but Peter Bradford doesn't have to be Phyllis Wick's lawyer because Phyllis Wick isn't lying about where she's from. Victoria Winters, for the first real time in her life, is lying because she's in a survival situation. This woman is in a time where you can be tried as a witch for no goddamn reason. And yes, she gets put on trial as a witch. Stuff gets accused of her, and she gets put on trial. She gets sent to the gallows. Now, here's what's interesting. Has Victoria Winters affected some change? With Daniel Collins, no. I think somebody was always meant to save Daniel. Did she affect change in other ways? Yes. Here's one. Remember Barnabas's words. Before Sarah died, I fixed her doll. Before, meaning like right before. Before she died, I fixed. That's the last sin I did. Meaning Barnabas wouldn't have been a vampire at the time of Sarah's death. I think Sarah dies of illness sooner. She doesn't die of going out to the cold or whatever. I think that gets I think the initial lie is that she died of pneumonia. I think she dies because of a voodoo doll. I think Angelique accidentally kills her, not on purpose, but accidentally. I'm giving Angelique benefit of doubt. I shouldn't. Now, keep in mind another thing that happens when I say how did Victoria Winters affect, you know, Victoria Winters is not there when Barnabas's coffin gets taken to the mausoleum. Victoria Winters is already in jail before Barnabas is turned. This is how Phyllis Wick knows Barnabas should not be in 1966 as well. 1967, sorry. Because Phyllis Wick knows Barnabas died. She was there. She wasn't taken to jail until after. Till his coffin was taken to the mausoleum. So she knew about it at least. She knew about it. That didn't happen with Victoria Winters. She was taken to jail before Barnabas was even bitten. Before Barnabas was bitten by the vampire bat. That's why they're different. Their journeys are so different. They're not the same. So there's a different version of 1795 with Victoria Winters than Phyllis Wick. It's not the same thing. Phyllis Wick is meant to die. Also, I'm trying to think what else. She tried to. She shoots Noah Gifford. I don't think Phyllis Wick would have shot Noah Gifford. No one would have rescued Phyllis Wick from jail. Phyllis Wick wouldn't have had Peter Bradford, I don't think, because again, she would have had the other guy. How did he still lose? How did Phyllis Wick still lose if she didn't have Peter Bradford? I think Forbes's testimony is a lot more sinister toward Phyllis Wick than it is Victoria Winters. I don't think that changes, but I think it's more sinister. I think they do a lot more to frame her than what we ever learn about with Phyllis Wick. Now, they aren't going to use Barnabas's death. Barnabas's death isn't officially recorded in the family history. It just isn't. Well, he died over in England. He didn't die in England. He didn't die in England at all. Victoria Winters gets sent to the gallows. They go to hang her. The switch is made back. Phyllis Wick is back in 1790. What did Victoria Winters affect most? I said about the Sarah thing. I said about the Phyllis Wick thing. Those two things. Sarah's doll is not mended before she dies. Barnabas never fixes her doll in 1795. Not when Victoria Winters is there. That never happens. And let me tell you why I think that is. Remember when Victoria Winters appears in front of the old house and then she goes up and Barnabas comes out? I honestly think that's not how Phyllis Wick got there. I think Phyllis, there's more proof. The thing against Phyllis Wick most, I think, is the overturned carriage, that she caused the accident. They say she used her witch's powers to cause an accident. Now they say that about Victoria, but it's like, how can you prove that? Again, she said she's from another time. That's where they get Victoria winners on being a witchcraft, being a witch. Oh, you're time travel. That's witchcraft. It's witchcraft. Um, no, it isn't, but still. I think when Sarah comes out of the house, Barnabas has already left to go into town. I think when I'm talking about Phyllis Wick's timeline now, I think Sarah comes out the house and she has her doll and she runs with it and falls and it breaks. That never happens because Victoria Winters approaches the house. So when Sarah comes out, Barnabas hasn't gone into the village. He stops because he sees a girl he doesn't recognize. He talks to her and asks her questions, and that girl is Victoria Winters. And then Sarah comes out and says, "Oh, that's my new governess." So there you go. Now we hear that 1795 is going to constantly repeat itself. Yes, 1795 is going to constantly repeat itself because nothing has changed for Phyllis Wick. Nothing has changed for Phyllis Wick. I want to make that very clear. For Victoria Winters, however, she's not meant to die. This is another reason why Nathan Forbes tells Victoria Winters she's dead. Because he believes she's dead. He believes she swung from the gallows because Phyllis Wick swung from the gallows. He thinks it's the same. It's not. It's not the same. This isn't Phyllis Wick. But 1795 keeps repeating itself, so Phyllis Wick's is the same. How does when Victoria Winters goes back to 1796, they put her right back in the gallows. She's put in the gallows, sent back to the gallows. This time she hangs, but she's put under spell by Angelique to make it look like she's dead. She's not really. Barnabas burns Barnabas and Ben Stokes burn Angelique. Victoria Winters wakes up. Again, another change. But yet 1795 is going to keep repeating itself. 1795 is repeating itself because it's trying to fix what's been done. It's trying to reset itself where there's no Victoria Winters. Like when Victoria leaves, 1795 is going to repeat itself again without Victoria Winters. Because Victoria Winters, regardless, is not meant to be there. She doesn't belong there. I love the character. I'm not saying this as a knock. I'm saying this because it's true. She doesn't belong in the past. Okay, Barnabas goes back. Yeah, guess what? Barnabas belongs there. That's his timeline. 1795. When he wills himself back to his own body, he already has a body to go back to. 1897. You notice we don't get the mention of a repeating loop of 1897, but I bet there was one. There was one until Barnabas used the E chain to go back and be put in his chain coffin, and Sandor lets him out. This is why in time travel they tell you don't go back in time because you could cause one ripple sets off a whole other set of ripple effects. Angelique tells Barnabas, You've already changed things by being here. Go back before you make it worse." What she's trying to tell him is, okay, you've created a very small ripple here. Don't make this work. Things, you aren't changing anything here. No matter what you do, go back. Go back. He doesn't go back. Okay. Barnabas stays in 1897. He affects it. He affects it. We don't hear certain things, right? I honestly think that with 1897, I think Magda Ricosi was killed by Count Petofe initially, not by her own people. No, I don't think she was ever put on trial initially. I think that's why 1897 is so different, because so many other things are different. Barnabas changes things by going back. He's causing a ripple effect in time. This is why I think 1897 doesn't repeat itself, because now Barnabas, for better or worse, has completely reset the historical chain of 1897. What we read in the Collins family history book, Quentin went to Paris. Now, we know the Collins family history book isn't accurate, so it's like, can we really trust that if there's a dead body in Quentin's room? Um, yes. The Quentin, I don't think Quentin gets killed by Jenny. I think Quentin found out about Jenny differently, but instead of her killing him, she tried to kill him. She failed. He accidentally kills her. That's why the werewolf change occurs initially. We know that's not the case in this one, though. This is now 1897 permanently. Quentin dies, but gets brought back by Angelique. So it's not Quentin haunting Collinwood. We know that now, right? Because if time were really fickle, that fickle about 1795, there's got to be some reason it's not that fickle about 1897. And it's probably because some of the events happen close enough. It just goes, you know what, fuck it. He wants to mess with time. Let him. There's nothing we can really do. He's a vampire. He's out of his coffin. What are we gonna do? Haul him back? We can't. He has to go back on his own. That's the difference between Barnabas and Victoria. Barnabas has a body to go to. Barnabas is from the past. So he can do 1897 and just walk around during the nighttime. Not during the day, but during the night. But he does get to walk around during the day because Angelique removes the curse. Angelique creates a doppelganger to put the curse in, etc., etc., etc. And so Barnabas is free of the curse. Now, Barnabas changes so much. Quentin's alive. He is, again, he assumes the ghost he saw as Quentin, that everybody sees is Quentin. Is it? You can debate whether it's Judah Zachary, or whatever. It could be. Quentin's portrait gets painted by Charles Delaware Tate. I think Petofe. Okay, so sorry, I'd like to retract something. Maybe Magda never goes for the hand. Maybe there's no Count Petofe, right? That could be a possibility. But I think there is, no matter what. I think the difference is Petofe, the reason Petofe causes whatever, he he doesn't know about time travel. He just lives with the hand because he wants to get away from the gypsies. But maybe the gypsies end up killing him before he gets the hand back. Who knows? We don't know. Again, there's 1897 without Barnabas. What was it? What was it? We know what it was with Barnabas, a lot of interference from him, which he affects the timeline. He affects that time period. This is why I think 1897 can't repeat itself. Barnabas has messed it up so bad. With regular time and parallel time. Is time aware that there's an alternate reality? Yes, I do. I think if time is aware that it has to freeze itself because Phyllis Wick doesn't belong, then time itself is very aware of the doppelgangers in the parallel time. I think time is the most aware character in Dark Shadows ever. Okay, I really do. Now, do I think Phyllis Wick changed places with Victoria Winters again when she went back, by the way, for 17? No, I think shit, they already hung her. She was dead. Again, Phyllis Wick is meant to be hanged. With 1897, Quentin has made it to the future. I think Quentin was already in the future. No one heard about him. No one knew about him. Whatever trickery is being pulled in the West Wing, I don't think it's Quentin pulling it. That's just my opinion. I don't think that's the ghost of Quentin. I think that's somebody posing as Quentin. Um, Ghost or manipulative, right? Very manipulative. I think Barnabas, again, he changes 1897. Parallel time, again, I think time is aware of the doppelganger rooms. It has to be. If you're, if you're aware of Phyllis Wick, who's not supposed to be in the present day, and time freezes itself, then time is aware of the parallel time. Now, will time freeze itself if somebody goes into the parallel time rooms? No. Parallel time does not work the same way as the past. The past is always repeating itself. I don't think that's the case for parallel time. Parallel time is a separate set of lives. Choices made by the people who have the same namesake, but maybe didn't have the same personality as the people we see in the 1960s, if that makes sense. I know this is like head exploding stuff. Trust me, it is for me. Yeah. Now, can someone from the parallel time room come into the present day without time freezing? Yes. If Barnabas can go into parallel time room without time freezing itself, then a person from the parallel time room could have came in from that time, from the alternate reality, from the parallel time, and been and they could have came in, is what I'm saying. They could have came into their time, someone from the parallel time room, and just left. I mean, what's to stop them from leaving? We don't know. We really don't know. I would love to see parallel time Victoria Winters. What's she like? Is she evil? Is she evil? Maybe she is. Who knows? I'm trying to think of all the points if I want to make any more. I think I think when you get into time itself, you have to understand this. Yes, time is a character. Quite literally, time itself is a character. And time has a job to maintain the balance of the past, but the past can be altered enough to where the the sort of life the hourglass we can't see ticking down. How is it going? The hourglass you can't see ticking down is always moving one direction, forward. Okay, it's moving forward till it's over and your time is up in this world. But also, your time could be up at any time because we're talking about fate here. Things tend to line up. Um, I do wonder if somebody from if somebody from 1897 had ever, you if they'd ever thought about going going into the other time. I do think it probably could have happened. It probably could have happened if not discussed. I do think one of them would have just took the journey and walked right through. Would have been very, very simple. Um, I think that's all I have for right now. I've tried to explain the best of my ability what I think time is in Dark Shadows and how it changes and what it changes. Um, but I want to give a huge shout out to John Philip Bentoncourt. Thank you, man, for chatting with me. I know you're a busy, busy dude. Um, really, really cool stuff. So just I love Dark Shadows. So you guys have a great night. Take care.